let's see. Man, this is yours. Give me mine. And to Shaghalto. You got mine, man. I'm sitting looking at the hadith. I'm like, where's all the writing, akhi? I'm like, I know I did all. See, watch. Open it up to the page. Iftah. Shuf al-Farq. I was like, where? I know I took all these notes. I got all this stuff in here. Where's my booklet clean? Sad. You see the difference between the two books? You see that? Huh? ايش؟ أخيرا. Well, you guys protect me from these fire ants, inshallah. Then yeah, man. It's gonna take a minute because we had like the poison, like we had to order some poison for that.
Put it around inside your house?
Yeah, but that's not coming until like August 5th. Amazon, you know, inshallah. No, but you know, you spray like a Dawn dish soap with mixed with water. It just kills them like on the spot. On the spot. I did that and like I had like 1,000. I mean, I wouldn't say 1,000, but I would say at least 300. They were behind the bed. And it was just behind my bed. Because all these cracks in the walls. We live in this old farmhouse, man, you know, so it's just like there's cracks all in the wall. So because it's been like 110, 100, like now it's calmed down, the heat. But you know, the last month it's just been so hot. So all the ants go into the house and they got into all the cracks in the walls. So one crumb fell. It fell next to my bed from a sandwich because I toast the bread when I make a sandwich. I don't eat the sandwich. I always toast it. And it fell. A piece of little crumb fell.
One crumb, huh?
That's all it took, akhi. I flipped the bed back. I saw a whole army, a battalion of ants. I'm like, wow, that's why I've been getting bit all these days. Boy, it took that darn dish soap.
Yeah, I remember like last week during the class, you were like, are you guys getting bit? Yeah. Bite or something?
Yeah, because they were all in my clothes. Yeah, they were all, today, that's why we were so late today. We couldn't do the class at Asr. Because I was washing all the clothes again because the ants were all in all the clothes, man. So I was coming here, like they were biting me on my legs while I was teaching the class. Or biting me on the back when I was in Salat, you know, so go out and I'm in the car and I see like an ant come out on my sleeve, like a little fire ant come out on my sleeve. I'm like, you guys just won't want to leave me alone, do you? Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Get rid of some sins though, man. Alhamdulillah. All right, but let's get started, inshallah. All right, so Bab, we're on chapter 66. SubhanAllah, this is already in there now. Oh, that's Muhammad Fatima finally, huh? All right, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Bab la yu'dhi jarahu. All right, so we're on chapter 66. Don't bring harm to your neighbor. Don't bring harm to your neighbor. All right. So, hadith number 119. حدثنا مسدد is Ibn Musarhad. Musaddad Ibn Musarhad. تعرف مسدد? You don't know Musaddad? Sheikh, I mean, come on, man. You see him in Bukhari and Sunan Abi Dawud. You see him all over the place, man. He's the Sheikh of all of the people. You see him in all, you know, most of the books of hadith, Musaddad. All right. حدثنا عبد الواحد هو ابن زياد قال حدثنا الأعمش. من الأعمش؟ إيش اسمه؟ I'm not looking over it. Yeah, don't worry. Amish. What's Amish's name? Because Amish obviously is not his name. Amish means that he's got, you know, weak, very, very weak vision. Sulaiman ibn Mihran. Alright, قال حدثنا أبو يحيى مولى جعدة ابن هبيرة قال سمعت أبا هريرة رضي الله عنه. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you that, all right, first off, this chain of narration is authentic. So I'm going to let you know this before we even read the hadith. because I really want the people to focus on this hadith. This is very serious. All right, and so this is one of those hadith that you don't really see. I don't know what other books. Let me see what other books hadith narrated this hadith. 119. It's in this. It's in Sahih Muslim, but it's just not one of those hadith that are just common, where people just quote it a lot. So this is a very important hadith. All right, so he says, سمعت أبا هريرة رضي الله عنه يقول قيل للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يا رسول الله إن فلانة تقوم الليل وتصوم النهار وتفعل وتصدق وتؤذي جيرانها بلسانها فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا خير فيها هي من أهل النار قالوا وفلانة تصلي المكتوبة وتصدق بأثوار ولا تؤذي أحدا فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم هي من أهل الجنة. All right, so Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu, he reported that that it was said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, O Messenger of Allah, and they're mentioning a woman. They said, this woman, she stands up at night in prayer. All right, one thing, she stands up at night in prayer. Taqum al-layl wa tasum an-nahar, and she fasts throughout the day. She stands up at night in prayer, and she what? She fasts during the day. وَتَفْعَلْ, and then and then they mention more of her good deeds, right? She does other things, not just like these are the two big things. Stand up at night in prayer. She's fasting, throughout the day, and she does other actions, right? وَتَصَدَّقْ, and she gives in charity, وَتُؤْذِي جِيرَانَهَا, but she causes harm to her neighbors بِلِسَانِهَا, with her tongue, not with her hands, not with refusing to give them something that they asked for, but with what? With her tongue. Maybe speaking about them behind their back, maybe causing fitna between them, which is a namima. All right, but she causes harm to her neighbors with her tongue. Stands up at night in prayer, fasts during the day, gives all this charity, but she causes harm to her neighbors with her tongue. So what did the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? He said, "La khayra fiha." There is no good in this woman. And no good in this woman. All this action that she's doing here of ibadah, but she's going and she's causing harm to another person. So when it comes to putting all this stuff into practice with people, she can't do it. He said, La khayra fiha. There's no good in her. Hiya min ahli an-nar, and she's from the people of the inhabitants of the hellfire. She's from the inhabitants of the hellfire. She stands up at night and prays. She fasts during the day. She gives charity. But what does away with all of this is her causing harm to her neighbor with her tongue. All right. Qalu, and then they said about another woman. He said, Fulanatun tusalli al-maktuba. Now this other woman, she only prays the 5 prayers. She doesn't pray anything else. She doesn't pray at night. She doesn't pray anything extra. She prays the 5 salawat. Right? That's it. All right. وَتَصَدَّقُوا بِأَثْوَارٍ. All right. Athwar is it's aqt. It's not athwar here. It's not the plural form of thawr. All right, because you look at athwar and you say, oh my God, she gives bulls as charity. It's not the plural form of athwar here. Doesn't mean a thawr, like a bull. It means an aqt. It's a dried milk, because what they do is they take the lebanon and they dry it out and it becomes like a hard rock. And this is called aqt. All right, they still use this in Saudi Arabia for people that lived in Saudi, but it's dried. It's like dried milk, but it's like a rock. They gave it to us one time. Remember, you've had it before, right? Y'all used to just eat it. Huh? Hamid. Oh, hamid, yeah. It's like real bitter. But it's nice. It's nice. You mix it with water and you can make like a sauce out of it. So it's cool. But they still, like I said, the old Sardis. But it's not like something you can go buy in the store. You just like, you go to the old Sardis, the old Bedouins, they know it. So I mentioned it to one of them, and they say, yeah, here, we got a whole bunch of this stuff. Take it. We don't, So, but you can't. Like, I could never find it in the stores. But yeah, that's it. Al-aqt. This is they used to eat this a lot in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because they used to dry out the milk to keep it from going bad. So if they didn't have that, they had extra milk. Like the lebanon, they would dry it out and make this out of it so it could stay for longer. Obviously, they're in the desert. All right. So this is what she gives in charity, which is very, very cheap, very, very little. Okay, so the other woman, she does all these great actions. She gives a lot of charity. This woman, she only prays what? Her 5 daily prayers. And she gives aqat, this dried leaven for charity. That's it. That's all she has to give. Not a lot, right? So it said, وَلَا تُؤْذِي أَحَدًا, but she doesn't bring harm to anybody. Here, you notice in the first woman, the one that prays at night and fasts during the day, he mentioned وَتُؤْذِي جَارَهَا or جِيرَانَهَا, right? That she brings harm to her neighbors. But this woman, he said what? It was said that هِيَ لَا تُؤْذِي أَحَدًا, like she doesn't bring harm, she doesn't harm anybody. Nobody. Not her neighbors, not anybody. فَقَالَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ هِيَ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ. And then the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that she is from the inhabitants of Jannah, that she'll go to Jannah. So does this mean that the first woman, because she's praying, she's fasting, and she's doing all this, that she's going to go to hellfire, like, stay in the hellfire for eternity? Did she leave Islam or what? Huh? Did she leave Islam because of this? So, the ulama, they have different opinions. Some of them, they say, because here, the thing is, they try to do the ta'wil of it, saying that she's not going to be from the people that go in, with the first people to go in, like the early people to go in, that she'll have to wait. But the thing is the Prophet ﷺ said, "La khayra fiha hiya min ahli an-nar." So that means that she has to go to hellfire for a period of time to purify herself from those sins that she committed, so she can go into Jannah. Because you see, but look at the importance of the rights of another Muslim, the rights of a neighbor. And keep in mind, just like the Prophet ﷺ said, about Jibril, Jibril yusini bil-jar, hatta dhanantu annahu sayuwarrithuhu. That Jibril is still advising me about the rights of the neighbor until I thought that he was going to what? Cause him to inherit from me. So you see the heaviness of the rights of the neighbor, that she can do all these actions, stand up at night and pray and fasting. She's praying at night, fasting during the day, giving charity. But this action of causing harm to her neighbors with her tongue is what causes her to have to go to the hellfire and be purified because of the greatness of these sins. Because these are from the kaba'ir. These are from the kaba'ir, and these are the huquq. These are the rights that the neighbor has over you. It's an obligation upon you to fulfill their rights. But these things about her fasting and these things about her praying at night, these are not obligations. These are, oh, check it out. These are like extra acts that she's doing. Things that she's doing as extra acts. But she's not doing the obligatory act. And what's the obligatory act? Yeah, fulfilling the rights of her neighbors. Instead, she's causing harm to her neighbors. So these are things that people need to be wary of. And don't think like because you're reading the Quran a lot, people read Quran and fast during the day and pray at night and all this, but then they, this is what they do. I think it's that guy yelling out the window. That crazy dude over there.
Yeah, they've been yelling since I heard.
Yeah, because he was yelling when we were coming up, huh?
أظن في الخارج بس يعني كنت أقرب فيه مش يعني شخص معاه يعني لابس يلبس زي جاكيت وسوار معاه برتقالي أسود يعني مش في الخارج بس.
Well, anyway, so you got to focus on the things that are an obligation first, and fulfill your obligations before because here she's not focusing on obligations. She's causing problems with other people, but she's putting all her focus on those things that are not obligatory. And this is what gets people. This is how she fell right into some major sins. All right, so the next hadith, which is number 120, I will tell you this much: this hadith is not authentic. This hadith is super da'if. If you want a lesson in Mustalah hadith, this hadith, this chain of narration is going to give it to you. So, حدثنا عبد الله بن يزيد as المقري. قال حدثنا عبد الرحمن بن زياد. عبد الرحمن بن زياد. He's what is it? I wrote it down here somewhere. Ibn Anam al-Afriqi. They used to call him al-Mufti, Mufti al-Afriqiyya. But ضعيف. كان رجلا صالحا ولكن سيء الحفظ. He was a very righteous person, but his memory was very weak. So when it came to hadith, they rejected his hadith, even though he was known to be a person of righteousness and khair. But as far as hadith, his hadith is not accepted. So that's one strike. حدثني عمارة ابن غراب ضعيف. Imam Ahmed قال أن عمارة ليس بشيء. He's nothing. Like his hadith is nothing, like not accepted at all. All right, so that's strike number 2. أن عمة له مجهولة, because it's mubhama majhula, because we don't know which is it, and one of his aunts, which one? So again, strike 3. So this is like a silsila of just like da'if. So I mean, you can see that the chain of narration is khalas. All right, an amatin lahu haddathathu annaha sa'alat Aisha المؤمنين. So one of his aunts, she asked Aisha radiallahu anha, the mother of the believers, فقالت إن زوج, I'm gonna just have to translate this little by little because this is a long hadith. إن زوج إحدانا يريدها فتمنعه نفسها. He said that one of our husbands might want something from us, but we refuse. إما أن تكون غضبة أو لم تكن نشيطة. Maybe because she's angry, or maybe because she has no energy. فهل علينا في ذلك من حرج? So do we have any sin for this? قالت نعم. And this is true. All right. It is, like I said, the hadith is da'if, but there are shawahid for some aspects of this hadith. إن من حقه عليك أن لو أرادك وأنت على قطب لم تمنعيه. So she said, and from his rights. Now this hadith is gonna be a little bit graphic, so I'm gonna be walking a fine tightrope on this one. All right, so she said, from amongst his rights, if that he wants something from you, that you have to give it to him, even if you are on a small. Al-qatab here is a rahila saghira, like a small riding animal. So even if you're on a small riding animal and travel and he wants something from you, you give it to him. That's his rights as your husband. Obviously, she's talking about what? If the hadith were authentic. If we were going to say the hadith were authentic, obviously she's not saying that you should perform these acts in that type of state, because obviously this is not for do something like this out in public. But it's not. But it's just showing the seriousness of the rights of the husband. Seriousness, but not that you actually do exactly what she's saying. قالت قلت لها إحدانا تحيض. So she said, from amongst us, one of us might menstruate. وليس لها ولزوجها إلا فراش واحد. And she said, and we don't have between us except for one bed. أو لحاف واحد, or one blanket that we share, that we cover up with. فكيف تصنع? What do we do now in this case? Because if she's because back in those days with the Jews, what did they used to do when the woman was menstruating?
Lock her up or something, right?
Yeah, they would just completely separate. Some would kick her out the house, or they just completely he won't even go anywhere near her. So here, that's why she's asking, and she says, all we have is one bed and one blanket, and she's menstruating. So what do we do? قالت لتشد عليها إزارها ثم تنام معها. She said that she should tighten up her izar, which is the clothing, the lower part of the garment that she wears. That she ties this up tight, and then she should sleep with him. فَلَهُ مَا فَوْقَ ذَلِكَ. And he can do whatever he wants with his wife is above the izar. Obviously because she's menstruating. And this again also, this has a shahid, like another hadith that's authentic, where the Prophet ﷺ mentioned this. So this like I said, certain aspects of this hadith are still correct, even though the hadith is severely, the chain of narration is really da'if. So he said that he can do whatever he wants with his wife as long as it's above the clothing. Obviously he can't. She's in a state of menstruation, so they can't do any major act. مع أني سوف أخبروك ما صنع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. And I'm going to inform you of what the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم used to do, what he did. إنه كان ليلتي منه, it was my night with him. فطحنته شيئا من شعير. So I grinded up something from sha'ir. Here they always translate it as barley, but again, and I mentioned this in previous lessons, that in the Middle East, like in Yemen and the southern parts of Sardiya, they don't grow barley. barley, they don't grow it. They grow oats. So what they call sha'ir baladi is actually an oat. And you can look at the grain and you can tell the difference, because if you go to Yemen and you tell them, like, give me some sha'ir baladi, and you look that up on Google, you'll see that it's an oat. It's oats. It's not barley. They don't grow barley. I've never seen barley grown. The only time that we used to get barley in Yemen, we used to get it from Australia. We used to buy this when we were in Saudi. And we used to grind it up and we used to use the flour to make porridge out of, like thick oatmeal. But other than that, we never could get barley. And it's all oats in Yemen and Sardinia, in those areas. So when they say sha'ir, they're referring to oats, not barley. فَجَعَلْتُ لَهُ قُرَصًا. Qurasan is like a small, she grinded up the flour, and then she made like small little bread for him, for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's a mistake in the book where it says Qurasan with a sakun. It's not. It's Qurasan. All right, because it's a jama' of the word Qurasa. Qurasatun, which is a small piece of bread. Quras. Huh? Ish? There you go. You can read Arabic now. All right. So, you want to use that one back there or what?
No, ما فيش مانع.
في ما في الحنفية. في كان في آخر مرة أنا مشيت عنده. نعم جربوا.
يعني ما فيش صابونة في الأشياء التغسل الكثيرة.
خلاص. طيب. All right, so she said after this, so she was making bread for him. فدخل فرد الباب. So he came in and he closed the door. وَدَخَلَ إِلَى الْمَسْجِدِ. Now what she means here by دَخَلَ إِلَى الْمَسْجِد, she's talking about the masjid al-bayt. She doesn't mean the actual masjid, because their house was attached to the masjid. But he had an area in the house that he used to pray. So when she said دَخَلَ إِلَى الْمَسْجِد, because the masjid is what? It's the place where you make sujood. So any place that you pray or you make sujood is called masjid. Yeah. ايش فيه؟ ايش؟
عصا.
موجود هو. وكان إذا أراد أن ينام أغلق الباب. And whenever he wanted to go to sleep, he would close the door. All right. وأوقع القربة. القربة here, it means the water skin. He would close it up. And he would close up the water skin. وأكفأ القدح. And he would flip over his cup. وأطفأ المصباح, and he would close off the lamp. Like he would do these things before he went to sleep. All right. And he said, فَأَنْتَظَرَتُهُ أَنْ يَنْصَرِفَ فَأُطْعِمَهُ الْقُرْص. So she said, I was waiting for him to finish and come back so I could feed him the bread. فَلَمْ يَنْصَرِفْ, but he didn't return. حَتَّى غَلَبَنِي النَّوْمُ, until I couldn't hold myself, so I fell asleep. وَأَوْجَعَهُ الْبَرْدُ. All right, and the cold started to bring him like a pain. فَأَتَانِي فَأَقَامَنِي. So he came to me and he woke me up. ثُمَّ قَالَ أَدْفِئِينِي, warm me up. Because it was cold that night. She had the blanket, she was asleep. So he said, warm me up, because he got cold. فَقُلْتُ لَهُ إِنِّي حَائِضٌ. She said, but I'm menstruating. So you understand what he means by warm me up, right? Huh? Okay. Because she said, I can't, I'm menstruating. All right. إني حائض فقال ونكشفي عن فخذيك. So he said, then uncover your two thighs. فكشفت له عن فخذي. So I uncovered my two thighs. فوضع خده ورأسه على فخذي. And he put his head and his cheek on her thighs, laid down, just to relax. He wasn't, just go to sleep. ثم أدبرت به. قالت وخلقت عنه. No, I skipped something. Hold on. No. I skipped the whole. I was like, what does that say? All right, so على فخذيها حتى دفيا, until he got warm. فأقبلت شاة لجارنا داجنا. So a sheep from our neighbors came in, because he didn't close the door. He walked in, because remember I said whenever he wants to go to sleep, what does he do? He locks the door, but he didn't close the door. So a sheep came into the room. And so she said, shatun dajina. Dajina, it means it's a sheep that's being raised up inside the house. So it's accustomed to what? The house. Yeah, to come into the house. So the sheep came into the house, فدخلت, and so entered. ثم عمدت إلى القرص, and then they went straight to the small bread that she had cooked, because the Prophet ﷺ at this time hadn't eaten. All right. فأخذته, and the sheep took it. ثم أدبرت, and then left out of the house. It's leaving out the house with the qurs. قالت فقلبت عنه. She said, I got worried. واستيقظ النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, and the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم woke up. فبادرتها إلى الباب, and I raced the sheep to the door, like she's running, trying to grab the bread out of the sheep's mouth. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم خذي ما أدركتي. He told her, he said, get whatever you can reach, من خرسك, from the bread that you made, ولا تؤذي جارك في شاته, and then don't bring harm to your neighbor by causing harm to his sheep. Like, just get whatever you can with ease, and let the sheep take the rest. Just let it go, but don't bring any harm to the sheep from whatever it takes. Like I said, certain aspects of this hadith, there are other hadith that are authentic that will say, okay, yeah, this is true, but and all in all, like the whole story and everything, like, the hadith is da'if. Although it's a beautiful story, right? Beautiful story, but yes, it's weak. All right, and the last hadith of this chapter, inshallah, we're going to take this now. حدثنا سليمان بن داود أبو الربيع قال حدثنا إسماعيل بن جعفر قال حدثنا العلاء بن عبد الرحمن عن أبيه عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا يدخل الجنة من لا يأمن جاره بوائقه. So this is also reported on the authority of Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه, and which he said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the person will not enter into Jannah whose neighbor is not safe from his evil, from his harm, from his bawa'iqahu sharruhu. So it's evil. So he's constantly causing problems for his neighbor. Maybe like we talked about, playing music loud, leaving garbage out, just being loud and obnoxious, having parties up until late at night, and you even find this even in the Muslim world when they have marriages, and then the people will cut off the street and have the music blasting in the middle of the street until 3 o'clock in the morning. So you see this, and these are. And like the Prophet ﷺ said, these are the people that don't enter into Jannah. And this is where the ulama, they were talking about, لا يدخلون الجنة دخولا أوليا. Like, they're not going to enter into Jannah with the first people that enter into Jannah. Like, they'll enter Jannah eventually, inshallah, if they're muwahideen. As long as they're on tawheed, they'll enter into Jannah eventually. But they won't enter into Jannah with the early people. And maybe because of the harm that they cause to their neighbor, like we saw in the first hadith, they might have to go to the hellfire for a period of time just to purify them from their sins. Allah musta'an. So that's a serious thing, man. Serious thing. I would rather just sit in the house and be super quiet. Don't cause no harm, no nothing. I guess I got no help today, man. So let's see what's going on here. All right. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh for everybody. Question number 1, how should one take notes while in a lesson of a book of hadith while the sheikh is going through the chain? You just take however it suits you. I mean, I don't think any 2 or 3 people take notes the same. So have you ever met anybody that took notes the same as another person? I never really cared even how the people took notes. I mean, you just take them how in a way that you can look back at the book and remember what those notes are for. If you look back at the book and you can't remember what they mean or what the notes are for, then you got to figure that out. You got to change your way of taking notes, and then you're also looking at the most important information of what you're looking for. So obviously with books of hadith, you're dealing with the chains of narration, the names of the people in the chains of narration, and the meanings of the words. To understand the actual body of the hadith. Because some of the words might be a little bit uncommon in the Arabic language. But yeah, that's it, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Instead, if you are living with your brother and mother and your mother asks you not to go to Fajr in the masjid because she feels scared to be alone, so tell her to go with you. So take your mother to the masjid. You can't stop praying in the masjid because your mother's afraid to be alone. Take her with you. At that time, do you obey her? Note that my aunt is upstairs, but yes, it can feel creepy at that time to be all alone in the house. Like I said, just take her with you. And May, I think you got to go back and get the Intansurullah yansurukum. I think that's what you're talking about. You forgot the sharat. You know, Intansurullah yansurukum. Insurullah, that you stand up on it and carry out what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded you to do. You carry out His commands and you stay away from His prohibitions, and you do amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar, and you call the people to good, you call the people to sunnah, you call the people to tawheed, and you warn them against the evil of going against those. And that's in tansurullah yansurukum. And if you do this, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you victory. A Muslim says, my neighbor has windmills and this music annoys me. If I say this is so annoying, am I doing anything wrong to my neighbors? I mean, you just have to be patient with that. You have to be patient. I mean, you're talking about those chimes, I think. That's what they're talking about, the chimes. The chimes aren't that annoying. Kind of remind me of vampire movies, but, you know, it's like from the 1980s, you know, because they always had, like, the wind chimes in those old horror movies, but I don't, like...
Just hand of the chimes going in the wind.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't, you know, but other than that, I mean, like I say, you just have to be patient. I mean, if they're Muslims, you advise them and just tell them that also that this is shirk and they shouldn't have this. But if your neighbors are from the kuffar, you're just gonna have to be patient. So, do we have to send salat and salam every time we hear or read the name of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Do it as much as you can. I mean, obviously, if you get like a lot of different ahadith, where it's like, you know, qila, thumma qala, thumma qila, thumma qala, you know, and then it's like, what are you gonna, like, every time qala sallallahu alaihi wasallam, qala sallallahu alaihi wasallam, qala sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, I mean, it's sufficient, I mean, at least that you said it once at the beginning of the hadith, because it's still the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam speaking, but, I mean, inshallah, just do it as much as you can. You get the reward for doing it. And that's the miza, and that's the distinguishing factor of being from the people of hadith, is that nobody, you know, the people of hadith are the people that was. Ahlul hadith, the people that constantly read and teach hadith, they're the ones that are all the time, saying sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, all the time, you know, and truth, because you get these Sufis, they just sit around and salli ala nabi, you know, but I mean, we're actually reading the hadith, you know, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is mentioned, and then we're doing, you know, so this, you know, there's a reward for it, so you want to do it as much as you can. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When do we say the isti'adha when reciting matun? You recite the isti'adha when you're reading Quran. When you start to read the Quran. It's not for the matun. You just say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim and start reading. Hazard, I wrote a whole book on this issue because he said, what book should a beginner student of knowledge busy himself to become grounded in the soul and i'tiqad? I wrote a whole book, and that's the whole purpose of me writing that book, because I kept having to answer these questions so many times. So you're just going to have to just read it in the book, inshallah. What should a woman do if her father accuses her of speaking to the man she is engaged to without any proof, and it's just suspicion and she is free from? I don't know. That's how you're going to have to handle that situation, because that's you and your father. Be patient. Just let them know that it's, if it's not true, it's not true. You got nothing to worry about, inshallah. But I mean, obviously, speaking to a person without the father's permission, I mean, that's definitely not permissible. And the father has every right to get angry if that is true. But if it's not true, then just be patient. Your father just looking out for you. He's concerned with you. He wants you to follow the correct rules of Islam. So just be patient, inshallah. I don't know about any. He said there's a poster going around about an event on August 3rd in memory of Sheikh Mubul. First off, when in our religion do we sit around celebrating the memory of people? All right, I don't know what that is anyway, in memory of Sheikh Mubul. And most of those, probably a lot of those guys that are, I don't know who's involved with it. I haven't seen this. Nobody sent this to me, so I don't know. I have to check, But I don't know, what is this in America, or is this in Yemen, or where is this? But I mean, we don't celebrate the life of a person, anybody. We're gonna sit down. We sit down and you wanna go and remember Sheikh Mubul and all he did. Continue doing what he did. His dawah, the dawah of Quran and Sunnah. Learn it and continue to teach it, and teach it the way that he taught it. And that's the best thing that we can do. And most of these people that try to sit there talking about we want to celebrate the life of people. Yeah, you celebrate the life of a person that you don't even follow. Wallahi, the person who's, if he were alive today, would probably spit in most of these guys' faces. Because they've turned away from the dawah, like he's mentioned. They become buddy with the Houthis, and then they speak against Ahl Sunnah, they speak against the other, the Marakas of Ahl Sunnah throughout Yemen. But then they want to sit there and be buddy with the Rafidah, talking about this, the memory of Sheikh Mubul. Nah, you want the memory of Sheikh Mubul, you go and continue the dawah that he started. Continue it, the way that he did it. And if you're not doing that, then khalas. Ahsanallahu alaykum wa iyyakum. Instead, should food, birthday party, or that kind of celebration be thrown away because it's haram, or can I give it to a non-Muslim neighbor instead? I mean, you give the food to somebody else. You give the food to somebody, but not as a part, obviously not as part of the celebration, but just for the intention of not wasting the food. Not wasting the food. You shouldn't just throw that food away. I mean, yeah, if you got homeless people, you got people that need it, give them the food. Yes, I mean, these celebrations are haram aslan. And then the people go and they waste so much food and waste all this money and food and all this stuff, on these celebrations for what? So the next day and they forgot it. Next day they got a sugar hangover. Can't even get out of bed. All right, instead of someone memorizes many books, how would he revise them all? I was told about some students in Mauritania who memorized an Alfiya that explained. They didn't memorize an Alfiya that explained Alfiya. They memorized, it's called the Ihmirar of Alfiya, which is by Ibn Bunna. So it's kind of like, he added to the Alfiya. But you don't have to memorize that, because the Alfiya itself by Ibn Malik was the Khulasa. And what does the Khulasa mean? It was extracted out of the Al-Kafiyat Shafiyat. So originally Muhammad ibn Malik, rahimahullah, Imam in the Lugha, Al-Andalusi, he wrote a matan, it's called Al-Kafiyat Shafiyat, and he explained this in 2 volumes. You can find his explanation online. So the original poem of Nahu was over 2,000 lines, close to 2,500. I can't remember. I haven't seen it in a long time. This was the original poem. But he wanted to make it easier for the people to memorize, so what did he do? He took out the most all the most important information out of the Kafiyat the Shafiyat, and that became the Khulasa, Al-Khulasa, which became known as Alfiyat ibn Malik. But he didn't call it Alfiyat, he called it Al-Khulasa, because it was taken out, it was extracted out of the Kafiyat the Shafiyat. But you can find Al-Kafiyat, the Shara of Al-Kafiyat the Shafiyat in bookstores. It's available. It's not uncommon to find it. The actual poem as a metan, no, you can't. I mean, I've never seen that. I've never seen it. But you can get it in the book. It's like I said, that's the original metan. But in Mauritania, they memorized the Ihmirar of Ibn Buna, I think his name is, which is, like I said, he added more masail and more things to Alfiyah. But if you wanted to do that, then why don't you just go back and memorize the original poem that Muhammad ibn Malik wrote, which was 2,000 plus lines. Memorize that, inshallah. That'd be a nice challenge for you. And as far as like how you got to break that stuff down, Akhi, you got to have time for everything. So if you memorize, like, let's just say, like, on an average, okay, you memorize Quran, you memorize Bulugh al-Maram, you memorize Alfiyat ibn Malik. All right, so that's 3 books, right? You look at how long is it going to take you to revise the Quran. So if you want to revise the Quran every 6 days, you have to read 5 juz a day, which is going to take you about 2.5 hours. That's gone, 2.5 hours just for the Quran, right? Then you want to memorize, you want to review, let's say, Bulugh al-Maram every 6 days. Every 6 days, that's going to take 90 minutes a day, like an hour and a half. So now you got 4 hours of your day gone. And then you want to review Alfiyat ibn Malik every 6 days, which is going to take about, that's not going to take that long, maybe 12, 15 minutes a day, because it's only it's 1,000 lines. It's not that big. So, yeah, I mean, you could do it in every 5 days in like 20 minutes. So just figure that out. It's like 100 minutes to read the whole book. So 6, if you're doing it every 6 days, yeah. So, a little over like 16 minutes. Let's say 16, 17 minutes. All right, a day to read it. So now you got 2.5 hours, hour and a half. That's 4 hours, and let's just say 20 minutes. Khalas, just to make life easy. 4 hours and 20 minutes that are dedicated just to revising those 3 books. Now you still got to read, you still got to, you got other things to do. So you see that it's not as easy. It's easy to get the stuff, but it's not easy to maintain it and keep it. Because to keep it, just that maintenance of keeping those things, it takes a lot of time. Most people, that's what they're not dedicated to. They're dedicated, they love the process of getting it. Like, let me memorize it. Memorizing it is the easy part. Keeping it for the rest of your life, that's the hard part. And that takes dedication. That's no joke. Like I said, just those 3 things alone will take almost 4.5 hours out of your day. Gone right away. All those chunks just taken out of your day. Now you haven't even started reading books. You haven't started researching. What about classes that you might be teaching? So you got to keep in mind, like the more you memorize, the more you got to what? You got to revise. You have to keep it. So that's just how that's life. Your life is going to become keeping that knowledge and maintaining that knowledge. That's just a reality. Can a husband move a wife in his home and not tell his previous wife? His previous wife, what do you mean? Like his first, like is he still married to the other wife or not? I don't, because if he's divorced from that wife, it's none of her business. But if you're talking about the first wife, how is he going to move? I mean, obviously, he should tell, he doesn't have to tell her anything. It's his house. If he's the one that, it's the house, it's his house, it's his bills, he pays it, he can move the woman in there. He doesn't need anybody's permission. It's his house. But obviously, when we talk about trying to keep the peace and trying to make the transition smooth, you don't want to become confrontational. And, you want to try to make it as easy as possible for the first wife. So, it's better to tell, to let her know, hey, look, she's going to live here, or what, just to like keep the peace. But he doesn't have to tell her nothing. A brother is asking if it's permissible to watch, and it's not permissible to watch that. You know that's not permissible to watch that. All right, Jakarta said, I don't celebrate birthdays. I didn't think you did. I'm just saying that in general. That, this is what people do. They waste all this money. Nor do I participate in any way in celebration, but sometimes I receive cake or food from the party, and I just like, no, you just eat it for the food. You're not eating it out of the celebration. You don't want the food to be wasted. People waste a lot of food with these celebrations, so you just eat it. Now, obviously, that's like, for like just general food. Now, if they're like slaughtering it, with all these types of, like slaughtering was a part of the celebration, something that would fall into shirk, or obviously, you would know to refrain from that, inshallah. No, you don't need to say al-isti'adha. You're just reading a metin. Any advice on dealing with brothers who have been influenced by spubs and extremes? Yeah, sit down with the people go sit with the ulama. See, people are influenced by these guys because this is what they see. Actually, when you go overseas and you sit with real serious students of knowledge, you see these dudes ain't nothing. They're nothing. They're nothing. I mean, alhamdulillah, there's good and there's bad, I'm not going to sit here and just diss those brothers and say that they never did any good. They did good, but they went to extremes in a lot of issues. But you sit with the real ulama, you sit with the real students of knowledge, and then, that's the only way that you can really cut out the influence of people like that, because when you're in America and that's what you see and that's what you think, oh wow, like these guys are the shuyukh, but then when you sit down and you see brothers who really, and I'm talking about brothers who like read Majmu' al-Fatawa, the Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah for fun. I'm talking about these types of brothers, like where brothers that I knew that read Fath al-Bari like 4 or 5 times over back to back to back to back just to get all the information to understand Bukhari. These are real serious students of knowledge. And then you come back and you see these guys and you're just like, it's a joke. You would never take them seriously. People take them seriously because that's all they see. Allah musta'an. And that's sad, but it's the reality. Ustad, what are your thoughts on Muslim fitness influencers who try to incorporate dawah? Nah. You want to exercise? Exercise. You want to give dawah? Give dawah. How do you sit there and mix between the two? People send me this stuff and I've seen it before. It's just a joke. ها؟ ايش هو؟
بس يحاول يمزقني.
تحول ايش؟
البس يحاول يمزقني.
البس يتحول ايش؟
يحاول يمزقني.
كيف البس اللي حق المسجد؟ ليش ايش؟
ما تريد ما تخليني اروح عندما امشي احاول اروح من عنده تمسك سيارة بلاد مخالب.
عشان ما تهرب منها. البس تهربك man. ايش نعمل؟ You understand what he's saying? So he's trying to come in the masjid, but the cat, the cat for the masjid, she was grabbing him. She's like clawing at his pants to hold him back so he won't go into so he stays out there with her. She didn't want him to leave her, What else? Is there a way I can send you the poster? So you just send it to me on Telegram, inshallah. Send it to me on Telegram. Hopefully I'll see it. And for all the people that keep sending me messages on Telegram, if I don't get back to your message, you got to understand, I only use Telegram for lessons. So when you see my Telegram, I get all the lessons that happen in Yemen. Sheikh Abdul Hamid, Sheikh Yahya first off and foremost, and Sheikh Abu Bakr al-Hamadi, Sheikh Fath al-Qadsi, Sheikh Rashad al-Dali'i, like all the ulama and all the shuyukh in Yemen, I have their lessons. I follow, just to keep their lesson, like their pages on Telegram. So I don't use Telegram for, questions and answers. So sometimes you might send a question, and then they start uploading the durus in Yemen, and your question is here. I don't see it because I'm not opening Telegram like 15 times a day. I open it once in the morning. Just if we take the dars in Bukhari, I upload to upload the dars. That's it. So I see it. But at that time, they start to upload all those durus in Yemen. So then your question is here, and then it's way down at the bottom, and I don't go down there. I only check the stuff at the top, and that's it. So if I don't answer your question on Telegram, it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just because you got buried. You got buried way at the bottom. So Allah musta'an, because those durus they get put up every day. So he said Dawrat al-Muqbila what? Now these people right now, listen, man. See, we don't have to run around and our dawah, we don't have to use the Sheikh's name for the dawah. We don't run around and just say Sheikh Mubil, Sheikh Mubil, Sheikh Mubil. But these individuals, they have to do that stuff. And you don't see any of the real students in Yemen, the real students. And I mean like those names of individuals that I just mentioned previously, and others, like Sheikh Abu Bilal, Sheikh Abu Amr al-Hajuri, Sheikh Abdul Wahab. These brothers, these are real students of knowledge. They don't have to use the Sheikh's name for their da'wah. They're continuing the da'wah of the Sheikh. They don't have to sit there and use his name and Dora Kether with Dora Kether. This type of stuff, akhi, you already know it's like a joke. It's a joke. Because the da'wah of the Sheikh was what? Go to the, first off, seek knowledge of the Quran and the Sunnah. You get into the masjid and you start teaching the people. He didn't go around doing all these Dawrat Kether, celebrating the memory of Kether, Nah, he sat up in the masjid and he taught the people that they needed what they needed to know so they could worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala correctly. That was the da'wah of the Shaykh, Quran and Sunnah. Completely safi, just like the way that the Salaf used to teach it. And that's it. With the chains of narration, he didn't, alhamdulillah, that's the people that follow his da'wah truthfully, that's what they do. They do what he did. They don't need to use his name all the time. Because that da'wah, they're continuing the da'wah whether or not they use his name or not. So Allah musta'an. Most of these guys I remember when I was in Sana'a, because I used to live next to the biggest masjid for these guys, for this Hizb al-Jadid people, which is Jam' al-Khair. So Jam' al-Khair is like it used to be the main masjid that you had to go to the match. Back in the early, the 90s and the early 2000s. This was the masjid. All the buses that went to Damaj, they went from Jam' al-Khair. But then they started flip-flopping, doing this masjid grabbing stuff. And, after the death of Sheikh Mubil rahimahullah, they started, just acting stupid. So then they switched it. So Sa'wan became the main masjid for the students that wanted to go to Damaj. And then Masjid al-Khair started becoming this Hizb al-Jadid masjid. So, and I noticed, because I used to live next to that masjid, so of course I'm going to go there. It's right in front of me. So I'm going to go there. This is when I was in Sana'a, after I came out from Damaj. So this is like, 2009, 2010 maybe. 2010, 2011, 2012, like that. I lived right next to that masjid. And then I noticed, like, whenever I would go and listen to the khutbahs and all this type of stuff, that they started saying in the khutbahs, what? Hassanahu Shaykh al-Albani. Sahhahu Shaykh al-Albani. I was like, what's up with these dudes now? Why are they saying Hassanahu? No disrespect to Shaykh al-Albani, rahimahullah, but they keep using Shaykh Muqbil's name, but they never ever say what? Hassanahu Imam al-Muqbil al-Wadi. Sahhahu al-Imam al-Muqbil ibn Hadi al-Wadi. They don't say this anymore. They started just using what? Shaykh al-Albani, Shaykh al-Albani. So I started to notice this stuff. So, akhi, what are they talking about that they're continuing on the da'wah? Ya akhi, they're so far from the da'wah of Shaykh Mubil. Wallahi, the da'wah of Shaykh Mubil is ani fi wad, wa hum fi wadin fi sin, akhi, in a whole nother area. Like, just tell them to keep, what they should put on the, what they should put on the flyer is what? Celebrating the memory, celebrating their Sayyid, what is it, Abdul Malik al-Houthi. That's who they should be celebrating, because that's who they're kissing up to. Yeah, akhzahumullah. Anyway, so back to local issues. Is there some nasiha for someone going to his homeland where Sufism is widespread? How should he give direct dawah to his male cousins and indirect dawah? And just, akhi, live it, man. You go there and you just live it. If you go into the people and you're trying to give dawah and you're oversleeping fajr, or you're going out and eating and laughing and joking and not taking anything seriously, how are the people going to listen to your dawah? You have to go there and just be an example first. And once the people start to trust you, then you could start to give them dawah little by little, but first set the example. Be that person in the masjid after Fajr reading Quran, doing the adhkar. Be that person praying and doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, sitting in the masjid reading hadith. When the people see that, then, it start to get kind of, because people, they're just like, what's the nature of people? Curiosity. Like, what's this guy? Who is this guy? He just all the time just reading Quran, reading hadith, and he's always in the masjid and he's doing this. And, we never see him, speaking stupid. We never see him laughing out loud. And we never see him, walking around the markets. Who is this guy? Then, you start to give the people dawah, inshallah. But first you have to set an example. Said, Assalamu alaikum, what do you think of the dawra ta'asil on Sahih Bukhari? I never possessed the one by Sahih Bukhari. I had Sahih Muslim, and their prints are very, very, very excellent. The one that I had of Sahih Muslim was excellent, and they kept it exactly the way that Sahih Muslim, the Imam Muslim, the way that it was written, without the chapter headings. They took the chapter headings out and just had the hadith. So it's a beautiful, and it's a very beautiful print. So I have nothing bad to say about that, but I didn't own the one by Bukhari that I had when I was overseas, when I was in Riyadh, was the Dawra ibn Jawzi, the 5-volume Sahih Bukhari. But I tried to get the Dawra Ta'sil Bukhari, and I went to get it, but they didn't have it. They had just sold out. So the only thing that they had was Sahih Muslim. So I said, yalla, we're going to read Sahih Muslim then. So alhamdulillah. Is it obligatory for laymen to study Bulugh al-Maram? It's not obligatory for you to study Bulugh al-Maram, that specific book, but at least the first half of Bulugh al-Maram, it's obligatory for you to study the basics of that knowledge. Kitab al-Tahara, you have to study that. You have to know that. Kitab al-Salat, you need to know that. If you have money and you have to pay zakat, then obviously you got to study Kitab al-Zakat. But all of us have to give zakat al-Fitr, so we need to study that. Kitab al-Siyam, all of us got to fast in Ramadan, so we got to study that. If you plan on going on Hajj, then you have to study Kitab al-Hajj. If you're a person who's involved in business and trade and transaction and investing and putting your money, and people borrowing your money and, things like this, loaning money, borrowing money, buying houses, real estate and all this, then you need to study the laws of commerce. Obviously we're all getting married, so we need to study the laws of marriage, divorce, and all this type of stuff. Anything that you have to do, then you have to study. That knowledge is obligatory when you do that thing. So if you're not going on Hajj right now, okay, you have no plan on going on Hajj this year or next year because you don't have the means to do it. Yeah, it's not obligatory for you to know all the ahkam of Hajj. But now if you say, okay, I'm going on Hajj next year, then you need to start learning. You need to start learning before you go on Hajj. It's obligatory. But it's not necessary that you study Bulugh al-Maram, but you study some book that teaches you the information that you need to know. Tawheed and the correct Aqidah is obligatory for everybody. Everybody. If someone wants to memorize a hadith that will interest a non-student of knowledge, like a hadith about the Dajjal, Jannah, what is it? I mean, you just take like like Sahih Muslim, Sunan Abi Dawud, and get those authentic hadiths out and just write them out in a notebook and memorize them. There's books like that. There's a book that was written from a student at Damaj, but I can't remember the name of it. I bought it for you, but you left it in Jacksonville. I can't remember the name of it. But that's even with all the chains of narration. So you just go through like Sahih Muslim and just take out the hadith that you want to memorize, write them in a notebook, and memorize them from a notebook. Said, all right, what book should a layman study for their obligatory? Now, like I said, we've already talked about all that. All of that stuff is in the book that I wrote about, the Believer's Handbook for Seeking Knowledge. All of that is in that book. All of these questions about memorization, about how much to read, how often to read, what to study, all of that information is all in the Believer's Handbook for Seeking Knowledge. All of it. So memorizing is the easy part, dedicating self to it. Yeah, because you're working towards a goal. You know, so it's, you know, you're watching, like, you know, for example, you got 1,000 lines of poetry, and then you watch it now become 800, then 600, then 500, then 300, then 200, and then you finish. So it's like fun, you're right. But now, what's your goal once you finished it? To keep it. So it's you know, it's a lot harder to stay motivated to do that goal. Like, that is where a higher level of self-discipline has to come in. You know, it has to come in. And then also the point is that you, when you memorize it, to make sure that you do memorize it, because things can come up. Things can come up where, like, you know, you don't feel like, okay, I need to take some time off, you know, because maybe like Bulugh al-Maram or whatever you're doing, it might be eating into your time so much. So you need to take a break. But if you memorize the book properly, you know, very, very well, like you really gave it its rights when you memorized it, you could take that time off, you know, maybe even a year off, and you can focus on, you know, researching or doing other things, and you can come back to it a year later, and you can get it back quickly, you know, because you really memorized it properly. But if you didn't, if you had that wishy-washy memorization and you're just trying to memorize it quickly just so you can say that you finished Bulugh al-Maram, nah, within 3 months, you're going to have to memorize the whole book over again because you probably forgot everything. And just like Jakarati said, and implementing it, that's the most important thing. What's the benefit of, you know, memorizing Alfiyat ibn Malik and you're talking about Inna Zaydun dhahaba ila suqa? You know, it's like, you know, you're making like all these mistakes in Nahu. What's the benefit? I think somebody's here. Who's that?
All right.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. You got burgers?
I got more than that.
Uh-oh. You got my chili dog, man?
I gave you pastrami sandwich and 20-piece nugget fries.
What do I look like? I look like Italian or something to you, man?
Oh, shkura, man. There's fries too. Yeah.
All right, this live stream is about to end, man. All right.
I think the live, they probably think we're joking. Here you go. 20-piece nugget. Someone.
All right,
You want the...
nah, right now. I'll eat it later, so.
There's 3 of you, so each one of you gets a pastrami sandwich. Someone, they don't want to come for the order.
He said, how to avoid going towards extremes as a layman who's studying. Be around people who really study. People that are gonna like knock you back in your lane when you try to start to veer off to, you know, to the wrong lanes. You know, because if you don't want people around you that are just gonna sit there and say, oh, you're doing good, oh, you don't want these these yes men type of praise people. You want people that when you mess up, people are gonna look at you and say, man, you messed up. That's wrong. That's incorrect. You're acting stupid. And you gotta have people around you that are gonna put you back in your lane when you start to veer out of that lane. And that's it. You know, if you don't have that, because you know, again, as these kuffar always say, what do they say? They say that, you know, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, right? And that's the reality. So you come back to, you know, if you come back to a country full of laymen and you don't have people around you, or you're still not in contact with people like that, then, you know, and that's why it's important to be, you know, like, for example, in Yemen, you know, we have relationships with brothers. We all study together all at one point, and people will tell you, and people get on me all the time. Akhi, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And may Allah reward them. May Allah reward them, because it helps you. I don't ever look down like, you know, what you telling me for? What you telling me? Nah, you can't have arrogance. When it comes to knowledge, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make mistakes seeking knowledge. You're gonna make mistakes even practicing it, and you're gonna make mistakes teaching it. That's just the reality. So you have to have people that are going to be around you that can correct you and put you right back in your place when you make those mistakes. And you have to listen to their advice. You look at the advice. Now, you got some petty people.
We got Dr. Pepper.
I'll tell you. You got some petty people that will like nitpick, you know, and like look for any type of mistake. Those types of people, khalas, ignore them. But you got sincere brothers that really, you know, they want good for you. And then they advise you and they tell you like, yeah, you know, what are you doing this? You need to stop doing it, you know. Khalas, take their advice. Take their advice. Huh? Man, you trying to...
They got ice too. So.
What type of straw is this, man?
It's the jumbo straw, isn't it?
Oh, I thought it was one of these hippie California paper straws or something.
Man, Uncle Robert, he was here last Tuesday, so I thought he was gonna be here. So I was like, all right. And then the one time, he's not here.
Nah, because we haven't been here, so. Man, this straw like sucks up the ice, man.
No, it's just for the first sip. That's it.
Yeah, I'm like, I got ice on the first sip. I'm like, how do you get ice out of a straw, man?
بس فاطمة تقول لك يعني هل بترد على سؤالها؟
Who?
فاطمة.
I don't know, man. I can't. I'm trying to see what her question is. When you're taking the ghusl, the water has to reach. The issue about taking down the braids and taking all this stuff is because of what? Yeah, the water has to reach all the scalp. If the braids are in such a way where the water still reaches all the areas of the scalp, because when you're taking a ghusl, the water has to hit, just like when you're making wudu, right? It has to hit the entire arm. You can't leave like little dry spots. So when you're taking a ghusl, you can't leave dry spots on your body. You have to wash your entire body. So your scalp, you know, if you have your braids, if the woman, she has braids in a way to where the water can still get inside and still get to the scalp, khalas, she doesn't have to take it down. She doesn't have to take it down. She only has to take it down if it's an impediment, and it's, you know, the water is not reaching the scalp. I did not read your other question about the husband, and I'm not even going to look for it because it's probably buried way at the top. Instead, the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that a man learning how to swim is one of the 4 activities not considered idle play. Does it apply to women as well? And y'all, I mean, you got to be very, very careful with that. You know? No, because the women swimming, akhi, it just opens up so many doors to evil, man. So many doors. And it's not like we don't want the women to feel like, okay, well, you guys get to do all the good activities, and all us women, all we get to do is like shake and bake and all this type of stuff and get in the kitchen and cook up some food. You know, I don't want the women to feel like this, but like, man, when you're doing this type of stuff, man, getting in water and, you know, you got to be so careful, especially in this age with cameras all over the place, akhi. You know, because where are you going to swim at right now where maybe there's not a camera? Where?
Florida.
Huh?
Lake, Florida.
What?
Lake in Florida.
I mean, you had to go somewhere out in the country, to some lake, you know, or to like some deserted part of the ocean. And the thing about it is I don't know if you're in Florida and you go to a deserted part of the ocean. Nah, I'm saying, I mean, I want you to keep this in mind, that Florida is what? The shark attack capital of the world. Of the world, not of America. It's the shark attack. So those areas that are deserted for a reason, you know what I'm saying? So
house in Yemen, in the basement, there's a pool.
Ice, man, I'm telling you.
No, it's just
Oh yeah, it's just
it's like the first
that's a
3.
big straw. That's what that is, man.
I'm not suffering, man.
I mean, you could probably, you know,
stick the straw all the way all the way to the bottom. That's like.
I'm probably not gonna take up styrofoam now. Can I get these lessons? What lessons are you talking about? I don't know which lessons. Are you talking about the lessons I was talking about on Telegram, I'm assuming? I'm not sure. How does one do tazkiyah for the heart? You just...
Brian, you can get Dr. Pepper.
I will tell you this much. If you read the Quran, and you read the tafsir of the Quran, and that does not change your heart, what's going to do it? I mean, you can read the books of Ibn al-Qayyim. Ibn al-Qayyim has some beautiful books, but the thing is that's the speech of a human. That's him talking. Like, okay, he's bringing ahadith and he's bringing things, but what I'm saying is like it's a lot of his, you know, him talking, him, you know, his speech. The speech of Allah is not like softening up your heart and not changing it either. So you need to focus on that. What's causing that? That's because of what? What causes that?
Sins.
The sins. So then that's the thing that you need to work on. You need to get rid of those sins that are causing that lack of what's going on. You guys are like two little schoolgirls over here, man. Because he's over here looking at the comments over here, and then you got the phone open now, right? I don't even know what you're smirking about, huh?
We'll just say it's gone now. Fatima said, look like a milkshake straw. It is a milkshake straw.
It is a milkshake straw. That's like a, what do they call those things that they serve at McDonald's? What are those? McFlurry straw. Oh no, because you got to have the little spoon thing on the bottom. That's all that's missing.
Oh, Asad didn't show.
Who?
Asad. He probably would have enjoyed the ice cold.
Because I told him, he asked me, he said, how much time do I have to play? Because he don't care about praying, he cares about playing. He said, how much time do I have to play when we get to the masjid? I said, 5 minutes. He said, I'm staying home. I'm not going. That was it. Yeah, inshallah, we're going to take Bulugh al-Maram right now.
Wait for the, we let the, من المسلمين الحمد لله رب العالمين, they said, would it be okay if I mention other cons of women swimming?
What's that?
One of the consistent viewers of your videos, they said, would it be okay if I mentioned other cons of women swimming?
What, in the chat?
Yes.
Mention them.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm not young. We're going to do Bulugh al-Maram.
I forgot to turn off the shutters. Shutters? Yeah. No, it's like, you know when the grill, all the heat, right? Because you know how heat rises, right? Yeah. And above the heat, there's a big shutter vents. I didn't turn those off when I left. So after the saw, we.
Whoa, man, this is. Wow. I sit here and ask one question and 10 other people ask. All right, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قال الإمام الحافظ بن حجر رحمه الله تعالى. Hadith number 1028. Enjoy your ice.
Yeah.
You got some too, right? Yeah. All right. وعن أبي سلمة بن عبد الرحمن أنه قال سألت عائشة رضي الله عنها كم كان صداق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم؟ قالت كان صداقه لأزواجه 12 أوقية ونشا. قالت أتدري ما النش؟ قال قلت لا. قالت نصف أوقية فتلك 500 درهم فهذا صداق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لأزواجه رواه مسلم. 500 dirham. When I tell you, when we get to that part and you find out how much 500 dirhams of silver, yeah, we'll see. All right, so this is reported on the authority of Abi Salama ibn Abdurrahman that he said, I asked Aisha radiallahu anha, how much was the dowry, the mahr, or the sadaq, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not that he gave her, but like how much did he what? That he commonly give the women when he got married. Call it. So she said that the amount of the dowry, the mahr that he used to give his wives was 12 uqiyah. All right, wanashan. All right, so this is like, and she's going to tell you exactly the amount. Because here it says, uqiyah hiya arba'una dirhaman. Uqiyah is 40 dirhams. 40. So if we got ithna ashar, how many is that?
12.
What are you talking about?
Ithna ashar.
Ithna ashar uqiyah, so how many dirhams?
See it again.
Oh my God, man. It's 480.
480.
All right. So وهو نقد من الفضة وقدره 147 جرام. So it's like it's about 147 grams of silver. That's about the approximate weight. All right. So that's the first thing. So they said 12 uqiyah wa nashan. Nash is what? Nisf al-uqiyah. So if an uqiyah is 40 dirhams, then the nash is nisf. So we got 480, and then we got nisf of 40, which is 20, which is how much we got? 500, right? Call it atadri man nash, and she said, and do you know what a nash is? قال قلت لا قالت نصف أوقية. So نصف أوقية 20. فتلك 500 dirham. So altogether, the Prophet ﷺ gave the equivalent of 500 dirhams of silver for marriage. All right, now this is according to Sheikh Abdullah Ali Bassam, rahimahullah, in his book Tawdih al-Ahkam. He said, this is what he said. He said, 500 dirham هي بالريال العربي السعودي 140 ريال. 100. You want me to read that over again?
I'm just thinking of the amount of thobes I can get with that.
You can't get thobe in you can't, what? You can't even barely get 2 thobes with that money. That's not a lot. 100.
Oh, I thought you were talking 100,000.
No, 140 reals.
Oh, you could only get.
You can get a thobe and a half of one, or like a thobe that nobody wants, because a thobe is like about 80 reals. So now you got 60 reals left over. Maybe get one for the kids or something like that. So 140 reals, akhi, you know how much money that is? It's not even $50, man. And that's the equivalent of what they used to get married with. So when you look at this is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You want the khairul hadi when we talk about in the khutbah, or khairul hadi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Here is the khairul hadi. It's not about money. It's not about trying to get rich off of this marriage thing. It's about what? Yeah, I mean, getting the people married that need to be married, that should be married, and khalas.
Make it easier.
Yeah, and making it easy on and bringing ease on the people, and not making things difficult. When you look at that, because you look at it sounds like a lot when you say 500 dirhams. Oh my God, no, it's the equivalent of 100. What did he say? $140, man. 140 reals is 30, and you got to keep in mind that $1 is equivalent to 3.76 reals. 30. What's up? Huh?
There's a cat war going on.
Cat war?
Yeah, some cat just screaming their lungs out right now.
There's been a lot of people coming in, people coming out, going out, people, He said one guy was down there in the boxes looking for food or something.
Did you know that Sheikh al-Albani, rahimahullah, he wrote a sharh of Tahawiyah? Did you know that?
It's like a ta'liq, yeah.
You read it before?
No.
Because I found it, I was on Civil Tasawwuf, I was like, oh, I gotta buy this.
Yeah.
So when I seen it, I bought it.
Yeah,
At work.
I don't know if he taught it all, though.
I just seen sharh Tahawiyah al-Albani, buy it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the best sharh of Tahawiyah is Ibn Abil Izz. You got that, khalas, you don't need anything else, But all right. So the whole point here is to show that this is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the greatest of all creation. You want to follow an example, you follow the example of the greatest creation. And there you go. And this is what he used to pay for his women. Because the important thing is that the man takes care of the wife after the marriage. Most of these guys, man, they pay so much money to get married, and then they expect like this woman's gonna be like, sweating like gold flakes, akhi, by the time he gets her, as much money as he spent, and then he realizes what? She can't cook the food that, the way his mother cooks it, or she can't do this, she can't. And what happens is he starts to hate her because now he's in debt. Now marriage, it becomes like a nightmare for him. Then it becomes a nightmare for the children. And then actually the whole household is just completely corrupted now because of what? I mean, a lot of these dudes, they have to go into debt just to get married. And this is crazy, akhi. Wallahi, this is crazy. Wallahi, the fathers, the Muslim fathers nowadays, wallahi, they got to fear Allah with their daughters. I'm not just saying like just go out and hand out your daughter to any dude. No, you find a person who's righteous. You find a person who's trying to, be on the deen, the person that you see. Not just, obviously he's got to be righteous and he's got to have some type of like you don't want to do this just like, oh yeah, he prays in the masjid, but then he sleeps the rest of the day, he doesn't want to work, doesn't want to do anything, you don't want that, obviously. But you look at a person who's suitable and marry him. Marry your daughter, but keep it within the confines of things. It's like ma'qul, like something logical.
Today,
Huh?
in this locality in California, the norm for the mahr is about 45K.
45K what?
45,000 US dollars.
Yeah, I would never look.
And they have smoke shops and liquor stores.
This is no disrespect to women, but somebody is not going to be happy with what I'm going to say right now. What happens to a car when you drive it off the lot? What happens to the value of the car? It goes down. So the lot is Yemen. And when you drive the car off the lot and park that car in America, what happened? The value just dropped greatly. Now she's in a society that's corrupting her. But they raised the price up like she's more valuable because she's in America. Wallahi, you guys are, wallahi, ta'ishun bil ghurur. Wallahi, that's ghurur. You know, you deceived yourself to thinking like, well, how does she become more valuable now? Like the mahar is more. Nah, akhi, I'll go back to Yemen and just marry some girl like in the village who tends the sheep, akhi. I don't need to. I want some American girl who spends her time on Instagram and TikTok all day long, akhi.
And they go to university with makeup on. These same girls who ask for like.
No, when she gets a degree, guess what? The mahar just went up to 50,000 or 60,000. Nah, man, she's got that blue passport. Her value went down.
Wait.
Her value went down.
Let me defend you real quick. Fatima said, "You ain't dropping no woman value." See, look, Fatima, it's not the imam who's dropping the woman's value. It's the woman who's dropping woman's value.
It's that driving the car off the lot, I think. That car was in a good lot. It was in a Yemeni lot where it was protected and they had security watching out for that car. Then you brought it to a corrupted lot where it's like crackheads all around the car and beasts and predators and all this type of stuff. And now look at this girl. Now look at the society that she grows up. Man, come on. She's going to be your wife now. She can't cook indomie, akhi. Seriously, wallahi.
في شخص ثاني يعني الحديث أقل يعني إيش الرقم أقل حديث
أيوة رقم أيوة. And the copy that I have 1028, but we're in Bible Sadaq, the second hadith in that chapter. And now the third hadith. All right, so the third hadith, وعن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال لما تزوج علي فاطمة رضي الله عنها قال له رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أعطيها شيئا قال ما عندي شيء قال فأين درعك الحطمية رواه أبو داود والنسائي وصححه الحاكم. So here Ibn Abbas he reported that when Ali married Fatima radiallahu anhuma, he said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, "A'tiha shay'an," give her something, for the mahar. And this shows that what? An obligation. He didn't say give her $50,000. He said, "A'tiha shay'an," give her what? Something for the mahar. Because it's an obligation. Give her something. Just pay attention to that word. A'tiha shay'an. All right. Qala ma indi shay. Now this goes to show you the poverty that they used to live in, and don't ever think that even this is the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said ma indi shay. He said I don't have anything to give her. This is Ali radiallahu anhu. And look at the difficulties that they used to live through. He said I don't have anything. And he said فَأَيْنَ دِرْعُكَ الْحُطَمِيَّةِ. He said where is your armor? It's a type of armor that was made from a place that's called al-Hatam. And that's why they call it al-Hutamiyya, because it's a certain tribe they used to make this type of armor, a specific type of armor. He said, where is that? He said, give that to her. And of course there's nothing in the narration to show if he gave that to her, if he gave her something else. This was just a suggestion from the Prophet ﷺ. So we don't know if he ended up giving her that as the mahar, or if he ended up just, giving something different, because obviously he's a person who's in war, he's going to need that. So Allah knows best what he ended up giving her, but he had to give her something. But the point is that here, his armor, his body armor, which at that time, it's not like this was something that's like super expensive, like this is the most expensive thing, no. So I mean, if you look at it, this is the daughter of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not some girl with an American passport that went to college with a bunch of frat boys and and listens to like these gay rainbow music artists and all this type of stuff. And she's been influenced by this where you go up and you go to get married to her and be like, so what's your name? Well, my pronouns are she and her, and like, man, get up out my house, akhi, seriously, or whatever you are. I don't even know if you're an akh or an ukht. I don't know what you are. I don't know what people are anymore. But,
even if you allow them.
But I'm just saying, like, make it easy on the people. And the people, they want to make it difficult, man. Seriously, ain't nobody about to pay no $40,000 for some woman who lived in America, period. Sorry, it's no disrespect to the women in America. I know we have some very good sisters here, but the thing is to find those good sisters, what do you have to do? Yeah, because you got a diamond that's just buried in the middle of a garbage dump, and you got to find that diamond, and that's too much. That's too much work. That's too much work. I'm not saying that the women overseas are all great either. You know, it's like, nah, you're gonna find a lot of but the dumps are smaller. You know, that's the whole thing. And the diamonds are a little bit more fewer, you know, but they're not, you know, but here, nah, come on, man. This type, well, like, man, even us, just to be safe from the type of corruption in the society, I think, come on, man. That devalues you as a believer. That devalues you as a Muslim. You know, like even as a Muslim, how much of a practicing Muslim are you living in this country? Yeah, man, you know, that's what the value's on. The value's on Islam. If that woman is a practicing Muslim and she's kept her deen and she's memorized the Quran and she's memorizing Hadith and she wants $50,000, yalla. Oh, yalla, we're gonna find a way to get that $50,000 for you. You know, because you deserve it. You deserve it, and you deserve more than that. A woman like that deserves the world and everything in it. But these girls, come on, man. These little full of dolls, they don't deserve the shoes off my feet, man. Seriously. Nah, forget that. No. And my shoes off my feet from Walmart, so, you know, that's true. Yeah.
You know, a very fast story that I heard from Abdul Razak al-Badr. So one time, Sheikh Abdul Razak al-Badr, he was narrating a story to his students. And he was saying that, like one of his students, he was telling him how he got married. And he went, and he was a righteous person. So he went to this family, to this righteous girl, and he asked the father if he could engage the girl. And the family agreed. And then when it came time to the meher, obviously the girl was asked, like, what would you like for meher? She asked for a copy of Sahih al-Bukhari. Just Sahih al-Bukhari, nothing else. Sooner or later, they got married, and he gave her the meher. And they ended up getting righteous children. Abdul Razak al-Badr said that he's a witness to these children being righteous. After he told the story, one of his students walked up to him and said, like, Sheikh, does he have a sister? I'll give her kutub al-sitta.
Nah, man, I'd give her Fath al-Bari, you know what I'm saying? Seriously, like, a woman like that asked for that, khalas, like I said, I'd give her everything. But
I'll send you the audio. Like,
no, I've heard the story before, yeah. Now, let's get some few more questions and we're going to leave and get to this food that the brother brought. Yeah, now I see the comment about the milkshake straw. We got penguin fingers up in here.
Yeah.
You see penguin fingers?
He's going at it with me.
You went from chicken fingers to penguin fingers. Is this chicken fingers?
To doodle ball. No, you changed fingers to doodle ball to penguin fingers.
You got personality disorder, I think.
It's the same person, but if you ask him, was that you last night? He's like, no, that was the other side of me, not me.
Oh, he's talking about you.
He's talking about, he said.
Is this who he's talking about?
He said.
Somebody says it's this chicken fingers cousin or something.
Yeah, it was,
That chicken fingers has a whole family. Doodle Bob, chicken fingers, penguin fingers. I didn't even know penguins had fingers. I didn't know chickens had fingers, but yeah. However you want to live your life, man.
أصابع الدجاج. Yeah, I just go into the restaurant and be like, ممكن أطلب أصابع الدجاج 4.
If you got a phone plan where you need a credit card and someone else uses its credit to pay for you, yeah, I mean, I don't know. What phone plan do you need a credit card for? Maybe this is outside of America or something. I don't know.
I think just go to Cricket and you should get debit off that very fast. I mean, I don't have Cricket, but that's what I heard.
I mean, even when I had their phone, like T-Mobile and all this, they didn't have to have a credit card for it. You know?
Well, Mir al-Muslimin, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin, they said, may I please share what Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah said about the one who thinks of increasing their daughter's meher or asking more than the daughters of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
If you have something beneficial to share, share it. You don't need my permission as long as it's beneficial. As long as it's not like chicken finger stuff. The common mahar here is a set of prayer clothes and some money. I think it's because most of us are not aware of our rights of mahar. Yeah, I think it's time to go to Indonesia, man. It's like a prayer, like a set of prayer clothes and some money, like just some money. Here you go. We're in the wrong country, man.
I was thinking,
Hmm.
about it. 10 years.
Yeah, it's definitely in what is that, $1,600 plane ticket.
They said, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah said in Majmu' al-Fatawa 32/194, whoever thinks of increasing his daughter's mahr and asking for more than the daughters of the messenger were given when they were the best women in... Hold on. Oh, I think, because when the type in Arabic got mixed up, I'll reread it. Whoever thinks of increasing his daughter's mahr and asking for more than the daughters of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ were given when they were the best of women in this world in all aspects is an ignorant fool.
You're reading, I'm trying to get all these questions.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's all because it's mostly just chat. It's not a... He said penguins don't have fingers and
It's
intelligence.
not National Geographic.
Thank you for the lesson, penguin fingers. So that's it. I don't think there's that many more questions, huh? Unless I missed something. Did you see anything else?
You're kind of late, so I don't know which one's that.
Hamid Jamal said a sister who's trying to memorize the book of Allah and Sahih Hadith, just trying is worth gold. Yeah, that's the biggest ni'mah that you can have in this dunya, man. A righteous wife. You leave your kids with her, and you're comfortable. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like you get one of these American women. You're trying to teach her Quran, and she's trying to teach him pop music and stuff like that. You know, or teaching them like, hey, let's watch these stupid Korean TV series or some dumb thing that like right now like a lot of the Arab girls are falling into. Like, what is this, man?
Watch me whip and watch me nay. That's what they're gonna do.
They're gonna watch me whip, watch me name, watch me kick you out my house. Yeah, I got no patience at my age to be dealing with nothing.
You know what that means, right? It's the dance, the big music.
I know it's a dance. I don't know what it is though. Yeah. Watch me kick you out the house. Watch me divorce you 3 times. Allah musta'an. Ah man, well, it requires patience. So not so much on us. I told you, man, I'm sorry, but everybody's got their day. Some days I'm gonna make the men angry. Some day I'm gonna make the women angry, but nah, it's just...
Do you see the lies?
Y'all bring this on yourself sometime, man.
What do I do? I just came out a 12-hour shift. And, like, give me a break.
Is that it, man? Because if that's it, we're out, man.
No, they said, could you read the one thing where the person, the viewer, they quoted a hadith?
Where?
Towards the end. The one where it says, not so much on us. The one before that.
So Abu Sunan Abi Dawud, authentic, narrated Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, translation of the meaning obviously, who gets up at night and prays and he wakes up his wife and if she refuses to get up, hadith authentic. He gets up to wake her up to pray with her. And if she doesn't wake up, he like splashes water in her face. And what are you over there smiling about, man?
Hello.
Huh?
Hello, تشوف السؤال.
ايش؟
just أقول hello, تشوف
Wait,
السؤال.
before that they said, the question said, is the hadith authentic?
That's hadith authentic, yeah.
If I remember correctly, it's also in Sahih Muslim.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's in one of the Sahihain.
There you go. Is it permissible in Islam for women to drive? That's one of the questions.
I don't know about the permissibility, but I mean, if you're looking at it like this, okay, which is worse, a woman driving? All right, for example, unless she's gonna have a mahram or somebody taking her everywhere she needs to go. First off, where is she gonna go? Most of the women, they need to drive because of what? They're going to college, school, or they're going to their job. Two things that if the man was doing his job, the woman shouldn't be doing in the first place. So that's already wrong. You know, the places that she's going is already, that's what she needs the car for. What else does she need the car for? Where does she need to go? So that's one issue. But then you got the issue that's even worse than that, where like a lot of people, they focus on the woman driving, but then the woman will get in an Uber and they got no problem with that. Yeah, her getting in an Uber is way worse, 1,000 times worse than her driving, because she's alone with another man. She's sitting there in a car alone with another man, which is way worse. That's not a mahram for her. So I mean, this type of stuff, this goes back to what's corrupt from the start. Again, the man should be taking care of everything. The woman shouldn't have to work. She shouldn't have to go to school. And what are you going to get in college anyways? Well, like, what does college do for you? It's stupid. It's stupid. Well, like, you look at like what is going to distinguish you in college? The dumbest people graduate college. You see this. You see some of the stupidest people. Like, who fails college? Do people actually fail anymore?
They just don't do the work if they fail.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You have to be really, but I mean, eventually even these idiots pass and they get a degree.
Just like here's the...
Yes, that's not like, that college degree nowadays is useless now. You know, even like a lot of the top corporations on that, they're looking for kids who are homeschooled. They don't even want any kid that's been in public school or any public education ever, because they're so stupid. So what does a girl need to go to college for anyways? What are you learning? What is a man learning in college? A man shouldn't be there either. But the point is like, you know, the woman driving, first off, the women need to stop taking these taxis and Ubers and all this type of stuff. That's number one. And then like the driving thing, the women, that needs to be solved from the men in her family. Because the woman shouldn't have to do that. If she's got that, the man is taking care of business. What does the woman have to drive? What she need a car for? Seriously.
From what I know, the only thing, like, if you really want a job in it that you need a degree, is like medical and engineering. That's it. To be honest, I'm just saying. That's from what I know.
Man, my aunt, she died. She was a manager of a bank, and I don't think that she finished high school. When she died, she was the manager. She went and got a job in the bank like 50 years ago or whatever, and started way, way, way at the bottom and just worked her way up to the top. She started getting all the skills. When she died, she was a manager of a bank. She ended up getting pregnant in high school. I don't even know if she even finished high school. I have to ask my mother if she even finished high school. So it's all about work, man. You work and you do things. Those types of like everybody. You can get a good job with a degree, but you're not gonna move. It's your mindset. You don't have, if you don't have that mindset of moving. See, you can take a person who starts in the mailroom in a company, but they got that mindset. Like their mindset is set. Like, I'm not staying here. I'm going to be up there. And you see them. They'll start to get promoted because they're working. So those dudes with the degrees that rely on their degrees, they're like the most useless people on the face of this earth, man.
And
seriously.
That, in any argument, let's just say if you don't have the degree, but they do in any argument, like I remember one time, this one idiot, he tried to argue with me, and I proved him wrong, and because he was saying something is haram, and I was like, no, he was saying something is halal. I was like, no, it was haram. He was a dalil, and after I proved him the dalil, he was like, but you don't have a medical degree, so that doesn't mean. They're just gonna shove the fact that you don't have a degree in your face. That's, wallahi, someone told me to my face. He said, you can't give da'wah because you don't have a medical degree.
No, I guess I can't give da'wah no more.
Why? He told me that to my face. He said,
I can't give da'wah because I never graduated high school, so I guess I can't give da'wah anymore either. SubhanAllah, I got to quit my job now, you know.
That was crazy. Then what about the Prophet? What about Musa and Isa and Ibrahim?
They never went to school a day in his life, man. The Prophet ﷺ couldn't read. Never went to school a day in his life. None of the Sahaba went to school.
But he was the best human.
But they did go to school. Once they accepted Islam, they went to the school of the Prophet ﷺ. That's the best school.
Real best.
All right, is that it, man? Any other questions?
There's another one. Someone says like, how to start out as a young da'i in a community with not much Salafis in it.
I already answered that question earlier. I mean, it's the same. The guy asked the question about being in the masjid with Sufis. And I answered it, so it's the same thing, you know.
Oh, last week.
I already answered it earlier in this. You got to go back in time.
Someone says from the thing, they said if they didn't have the access to drive, they may stay home more because getting an Uber can be expensive if they didn't
Well,
drive.
getting an Uber is not permissible. It's not permissible. That's being alone. That's khulwa, you know. And that's way worse than her driving. If you had two choices of her driving and her taking an Uber, her driving is less. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why when I got to 30, I was like, man, you guys are weird, man. Because they're like, women can't drive. Women shouldn't drive. But you put the girl in an Uber with, or you put her in a car with an Indian dude, you know, like he's the driver, right? This guy, you don't know him from nothing. You just brought him from India, right? Now he's the driver. Now she's got no connection to this guy whatsoever, right? And what happens? What do you think happens over time?
Zina.
Exactly.
That's Zina and stuff.
Yeah, because she gets all these drivers, you know, because, you know, and I'll just use the example of, you know, being from India, because most of the drivers that they get are from India. But they also get some drivers from Africa and all that, and you see what happens. You got this woman, you get her alone with this driver, and you know, khalas, and she's spending this time with him all alone all the time, but you're concerned about her driving a car? Come on, man. You know, like her driving a car is way, way easier than her being alone with that driver all day long. That's, subhanAllah, that's huge. Huge.
Let's say for example, there's a 4-year-old girl or a 5-year-old girl, and she wants to pray with her mother or pray with her father, and she just wants to pray salah. Does she have to cover her head?
Again,
Like let's say
I was reading this
like
question.
a 5-year-old girl, she wants to pray salah, like any one of us. Does she have to cover her head?
A 5-year-old girl? No, she hasn't reached the age of below.
No, like just in the salah. She doesn't.
No,
Well, what does she have to cover then?
her body.
So she could show her shins, right? What has to be covered? What has to be? What can be?
I mean, what you shouldn't like cover up, but not. She doesn't have to be covered like that. She's just a 5-year-old girl. But I mean, honestly, you start getting her accustomed to that at an early age, putting the hijab on her and things like that. Getting her accustomed to that at an early age is much better. So when she gets older, it's just like customary, you know.
We know that generally speaking, a woman she can't cover her face in salah. So what's the ruling if a woman prays with glasses on?
She prays with glasses on.
What is it? She could barely see, but she could only see with glasses. She wears glasses, but she wears them in the salah. Is her salah valid?
What would invalidate it?
Because she can't cover her face.
She's not covering her face. Yeah.
I just didn't know the rule.
Yeah.
So if a 5-year-old wants to pray, like a 5-year-old little girl, she wants to pray without covering her head, would her salah be valid?
She's not mukallafa asna. What are you talking about, valid or not valid? She's not mukallafa. Like basically what you're doing with the young children, getting them to pray, is just to get them accustomed to praying at a young age. But she's not mukallafa asna. That means like she's under no obligation. She's like, if she prays, she prays. If she doesn't, she doesn't. You know, because most of these kids, they're too young to even understand about having the correct intentions. They don't, you know, you're just getting them to get accustomed to praying. That's it. I mean, what is a 5-year-old girl going to know about her intentions and praying with the right intentions and doing? No, she's not going to know this. She's just praying because you tell her to pray. That's it. So just get her accustomed to doing that.
If her salah is whether or not if she has.
Muhammad Fatima said, how can a woman be in a car with a man in 30? Thought that was boy, if you knew the stories. Hazard, I don't know where your question is at, Akhi. I do not know where your question is at. Where is this Hazard's question? Somebody keeps saying answer Hazard's question. It's been buried somewhere.
يقول أظن أول واحد.
What?
أظن أقل يعني زي أول كم.
أول واحد.
أظن.
You gotta go all the way back up here to look for that. I answered that question. He said, what book should a beginner student in knowledge busy himself? to become grounded in the Usul and I'tiqad. And I explained all of this in the book that I wrote. Everything is in the book, and we're doing the lessons on that book on this channel. You know, so I mean, that's why I wrote the book, so I don't have to keep answering that question every time somebody asks me, because that's the most commonly asked question. If that's the question he's talking about.
It's a no, Ustad.
There's another question or what?
No.
Send it again. Where is the recent question of hazard? I don't see. A brother is asking if America is Dar al-Harb or Kufr, can we attain? No. You know, man. You can't get a right hand's possession because you have to have the Wali al-Amr. That's given to you by the Wali al-Amr. And that's when you go to war. This is not Dar al-Harb. What are they talking? It's Dar al-Kufr. But I mean, we're not fighting right now inside of this country, are we? You just can't go snatching women off. This is akhi wallahi. These are just these people, man. They got these sick hearts, you know. And I told you, like these Khawarij type dudes, that they just want to like find any excuse to just like, oh, this ain't my girlfriend, akhi. This is my right hand possession. Man, you're a crackhead, akhi wallahi. And you know that's not even worth going to hellfire with some stupidity over that. The right hand possession is taken in what?
War.
In war. She's taken as a captive in war. And then she's put up with the booty, like the war booty. And it's distributed by the Wali al-Amr. You don't go snatching stuff off, and just taking stuff, talking about, oh, this is my right hand possession. Yeah, akhi, what are you, like Amir al-Mu'mineen all of a sudden? So you do that, then that's considered, if you did that in an actual real military, a Muslim military, what is that considered?
Fornication.
No, that's stealing from the war booty, which is a major sin. Punishable by what? Punishment in the hellfire. You know, the one of the servants of the Prophet ﷺ, because of what? A string and a na'al. He took it. He took it and kept it for himself. Hellfire. Yeah, akhi, that's no joke, man. That all of the war booty is distributed in war by the Wali al-Amr. Who's your Wali al-Amr to get a right hand possession? Who gave this? And where did you get this captive from? Did you get her from like Belmont Street? Like where did you get her captive from? You know, and I guess what you got her, I got her captive for $30 for 3 hours. Like what is this, man?
There's a Motel 6 on Belmont.
I guess the Motel 6 is a good place to get some captives, ain't it? You know.
That's the place when I was driving. You remember when we were driving the car and I told you, whatever you do, don't go down that street. That was the street.
Yeah, man. SubhanAllah. Nah, this is a joke, man. That's crazy. That is crazy. Right hand possessions, wallah. Man, I've seen so much stuff from these Khawarij, akhi, wallah, it's not even funny. And then that's why when people see, when this stuff comes up, why I get so angry, akhi. I get angry because why? Why do we get angry the most? Because we used to think like these people, and then we trusted these people, then we find out they were lying to us the whole time. And when you find out that you've been lied to, akhi, you hate a person with a passion that's not the same. See, I hate the Rafidha, but I hate them for all the evil that they do. But I never believed them. But these jokers, because we grew up, ignorant. And then these people came and manipulated us and tried to like get us to go on all this like takfiri type ideology and jihadi ideology. And then when we start to study the Quran and the Sunnah, we realize that, man, these dudes are lying to us. So when somebody's lied to you and tried to teach you stuff that like might cause you to go astray, akhi, you got this passion of hatred in for that person. It's a special type of hatred. And this type of foolishness, akhi, I used to listen to all of this stuff. Akhi, there used to be one dude, he used to be a student of knowledge, akhi, used to watch porn. Because why? Oh, it's permissible because they're kuffar. Yeah, akhi, come on, man. You, like, seriously, akhi, you expect to go to Jannah with this type of mindset?
That's not knowledge.
No, I'm saying he was at one point.
Okay,
I'm not saying at this point. At this point, he's a sahib al-hawa.
Can you explain about remember last night when you said Reddit strikes again? Oh man.
No, we'll talk about that later, actually. Like right now, we just.
Or if you go like warn the YouTube viewers, like say stay away from Reddit.
Yeah, Muhammad Fatima. I said Belmont. And you know a lot of right-hand possessions out there on Belmont. Right now especially, it's like, what, 10:30? A lot of right-hand possessions.
And in the summer.
Almost time. But they ain't halal, that's for sure. Halal mustaan. Anyways, man, subhanakallah wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
With the food.